Hello YouTube, GreatsOnJ1 here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to be better at Mace Windu in Heroes vs Villains. Now Mace Windu is only really effective with correct abilities. It depends on what abilities you use and how you use them. Now his moves are very simple, they're just simple swings, and these moves are very and more unique to them. So I'm gonna have to force push more away. Yeah. His moves are these. Some of them are quite similar. Thank you, Bo-Katan. So that, and that. Now the abilities I like to use are Repulse and Counter. Repulse is one of his default abilities. Always don't replace it with a push. That's just going to give you less range, and you want the more range. But still keep in mind, that he is a very good counter to use with the right abilities. Now he can be quite effective and has more health than the usual characters, having around 200 health. Which is reasonable because he does use the dark side and light side, giving him more health than most characters, if not than any other character. Which does make a lot of sense, in a way. So, his abilities that I like to use are Repulse and Counter. Repulse is pretty much a force push that's all around you. So, and then Counter is if your enemy's attacking you, you won't take the damage, they will. So pretty much it's like you're reflecting blaster bolts, but it's not just on blaster bolts, or it's for not blaster bolts. So yeah. However, Counter does not speed your character up, so it's highly not recommended if you're trying to run, as it will not speed your character up. Now he can be very useful, but one of his best maps are on maps with ledges. These include the following: Naboo, Death Star, Bespin, and another map, I can't remember its name. But do keep in mind, he can be very powerful if you are going up one with the right abilities. So he can be a very dangerous character to go up against if you have a Repulse and a Counter. But this counter can be very useful to actually finish an enemy, but you want them to kill themselves, pretty much, because on their counter ability. So he's highly recommended if you feel like you can use him. He is very useful, but he does not do his damage is quite standard and not enough, and it does not do damage that you'd probably expect it to do. I was expecting it to do like 80 or something like that, because he uses the dark side as well, so like 80 and either 80 or 60. I was expecting him to do that. However, I don't think his counter does affect blaster bolts, because he was not shooting when I was doing it, or he was shooting, but he was going past the counter. His counter is pretty much a block that's 100% sure going to pretty much deflect. So he is a very useful character on your team with the right abilities. However, no skin. The reason why I didn't go over his skins was because he does not have any skins that are pretty much useful for him, because they do not change his lightsaber colour at all, or at least one of them does, but it does not change them to the right colour, to red. So if they were going to add the Sith skin, I'd expect it to either still be purple or it would be red, but one way or another, his skins do not help him being disguised as a Sith. Unlike some characters that actually have a skin that changes their lightsaber to red. Now do keep in mind that it can be used for lots and lots of things, but I highly recommend him if you're trying to overpower your enemies. If you have the repulse and counter. Now do try and keep in mind that anyone with a jetpack will be a hard enemy to try and hit. And his repulse has a lengthy animation. Now, I cannot handle multiple enemies at once. You probably can, but now we'll be going over his abilities. Now, his status. I did not do these on the earlier videos because I did not think about doing it. However, I'm just showing you it. So, it has pretty standard stamina, but it does drain quite slowly. His speed is 21, jump 75, and damage is only 25 to 30. His health is very reasonable, being 200. Now, I recommend either using choke or repulse. They will both be good, and then always put on counter. Now, I do not think any of these skins actually change his, pretty much, I don't think they actually change his lightsaber, so. However, they can be very useful. He's a very useful character to have in your team if used the correct way. He's only going to be very effective depending on your abilities. It really depends on abilities. I'll be Palpatine. He's pretty much his counterpart, so he's very effective used the right way, but you need to make sure that he's used correctly, because if you don't use it correctly, you will not really be able to use him effectively. But do keep in mind that this can be a very helpful character to have on your team, Mace Windu. And I highly recommend him, like I've said many times, if he has the right abilities. Abilities are more on what makes him a good character. So and I'm going to be using my Form 1 of Palpatine, which is just using his chain lightning. This is the form I will always and often use. I haven't been able to use it too often recently due to the enemies either being too powerful, or it's on the game mode where I need to use the lightsaber. So it's mainly been a case where I need to actually not use the lightsaber. Because I always prefer to not use the lightsaber. I'm only using it if it's necessary, which is a bit like how Palpatine uses his lightsaber and how he believes how he'd use it, and if a true Sith and Force user needed one. So we're gonna try and finish Qui-Gon off with a zap. Oh, I nearly had him if I didn't miss that chain lightning. Do keep in mind that if you want to be on attack but defensive, I recommend having his lightsaber out but using his chain lightning and just block when it's needed. So yeah. Now Palpatine has a lot less health than Mace Windu, but he can be but he's not also one of the easiest characters to learn, but he can be a character that you can learn. Now I believe his spin ability actually speeds him up. I know it probably doesn't, but it often feels like it does, so that's why I actually use it. Now do keep in mind that you won't get a lot of XP or attacks with Palpatine, and I know this was a Mace Windu video, but I wasn't on the right team, so I had to be proud to his counterpart. Anyway, yes, Mace Windu's a very helpful character to have on your team. I'd most certainly put him in a video if it was like what characters you should have on your team for what game modes. He's most certainly be on one of those game modes, pretty much. Or that's at least what I think. So do keep in mind that he's a very useful character to have on your team, used the right way and with the right abilities. He can be used for defense or attacking, but I recommend him for attacks. And it can be useful for taking out large amounts of enemies on maps with ledges as well as maps without ledges. So yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.